And away we go. This is episode
3, 2,
60.
1, 3. Oh, sorry.
First day on the job.
3.
Episode
Coming down.
Oh, shit.
Bring it to me.
Long
Bring
afternoon.
it to me. Bring it to me in 2. Oh, you're starting. Sorry. Go ahead. Can't wait to hear the intro.
Oh, my God.
What
Wow.
happened? What? Bro,
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
are you going to start this damn podcast today?
Episode 62 starting right now. It's Rod Ryan, the Interrupter, and Jason Ginty here. You can find us on social media. What are we called? At Playpants Pod. We're on YouTube, Playpants Pod. Find us, watch it, record it, listen to it anywhere. I don't give a shit. Just check it out because we got some stuff to get into today. First of all, do I have more? And I have no concrete evidence, but did I dig up some maybe pointers to the Foo Fighters might be done forever after their show September 27th in LA? I might have something there.
Okay.
I've got an update on your Nickelback song because we got to start updating shit. As we talk about stuff, I want to kind of bring it back around, give people some updates. And Rod, I've got a quiz that we can run through. You did a cool thing, I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes back where we compared and contrasted like what was it, Pearl Jam's 10 and then Van Halen 1, right? We went song by song, track by track. We kind of went, okay, this in Guns N' Roses Appetite, and we went, okay, this one's better than this one.
Yeah, we compared. It was debut. It was the time. It was when we did the best debut albums.
That's what it was.
And we went track by track. Who wins track 1? Who wins track 2? And we went through it that way. And they almost lined up like with the same amount of songs on them. That was actually really fun. It was difficult. It was a hard exercise to do.
Well, I in the spirit of that, I put a twist on it. Okay, and we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. I want to kind of start off with that because I feel it's strong. I feel it's our strongest material for this show.
Front load the good shit.
Front load the good shit always. So that's going to be coming up here in just a second. And then you shot over what I thought was kind of cool because I just finally, after my mom yelling at me for the last 2 months, finally watched the Elvis documentary. And the movie, right? Which is not a doc. It's in fact, the director, Baz Luhrmann, calls it almost like a superhero picture. That's the way he kind of approached doing the Elvis thing. And I thought, interesting spin on it. You saw it. I saw it. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Then you want to dive into our top 5 biopics that we would like to see done.
Yeah, as one of the listeners sent that to me because I was talking about Ozzy again this week. Ozzy did the halftime show of the NFL season opener. It was the Bills game. And I felt like the network kind of pushed that Ozzy was playing and there was stuff out there. And then I started pushing that Ozzy was playing. I was putting it on social media and they showed 9 seconds of him. So they finally released the full Ozzy footage of the 2 songs. I think he just did 2 songs. He's obviously promoting his new album, but he did Crazy Train. Zach Wilde came out. Nice. And some guy, who's been following the show said, what do you think about an Ozzy biopic? And that got me thinking, hey, who deserves a biopic? Who deserves big screen treatment? Who do you think, who would you like to see? I mean, we skate around this. Of course, you can just go through the biggest bands in the world, but who would really give you a good story? So that's how I approached my list. So I can't wait to hear what you got to say on that. I
have 12. So there's some work to do between now and the top 5. But
we have this kind of like a top 5 show. We have a theme going here.
But if I can fuck it up, I will. So we got a lot to get to today, man. Let's start off with last week. We're talking about Nickelback. You played it on your show, the brand new Nickelback song called San Quentin. So I went and finally listened to it about 4 or 5 times. They listened to some Metallica. Okay, that's a Metallica song with cheesy lyrics. It's a Metallica
song. The lyrics are cheesy. The music is really, really good.
That's where they get in trouble. It's just like, come on, you can write better lyrics than this shit, man. You can do better. You can do much better. But it's a cool song. If you just want a straight up rock and roll, bang your head song, it's good. Good for the gym.
Is there any way that your radio station will touch that?
You know what? I've tried. I've brought it. That's why I listened to it so much. After you said it, I'm like, Probably not just yet. Well, so we talked about it, and I think I said we both kind of agreed on the fact that on the because there's different charts. You've got your Billboard Hot 100, and you've got an alternative chart, which your station in Houston, mine in New Orleans, that we kind of look at, and then you have what's called like a mainstream rock chart, which is more of your mixture of classic rock and the heavier stuff. Okay, and we both kind of mentioned how on alternative we'll be lucky to see it crack the top 20, right? Whereas on the alternative chart, and then whereas on the mainstream rock chart, we kind of both said it should probably go to number 1 because it fits that format. So I dug around a couple minutes ago and looked at our charts. Nickelback is in 100 is number 118 on the alternative chart. 3 stations in the entire country out of 56 alternative radio stations are playing it. 3. You're one of them. So
with my 1 or 2, we have a couple overnight spins. Yeah,
that's it. Okay, so but you got 3 now. Us being radio guys, we kind of got this on point because Nickelback is at number 30 on the mainstream rock chart. 44 of 73 stations are playing it. So it's already blasting up the chart. Next week, that thing will be top 10. So from a standpoint of us two dopes kind of knowing some shit, we kind of know some shit. But I don't see it. I just don't know if I can play that. It's just, oof. It's oof.
You don't have a station that has a ton of heritage in your market yet. You'll get there,
right.
You're a new station. So you have to really be careful because every single song, you're still defining your identity.
Correct.
And it's so important that every song is absolutely right for you. That doesn't mean that every song isn't absolutely right for us, but the buzz has a little bit more heritage. We've been here a long time. I've been here a long time. So there's a little bit more of a trust factor. You got people they're going to be kind of locked in, and that's where my boss will allow me, because I told you he wasn't going to play it.
Right.
He wasn't going to play it. And then I had to convince him. I'm like, dude, let's give this a spin. And he's like, when? I go, in the mornings, of course, so we can talk about it. These guys, they do get locked in. And Jason is a dumb program director.
Absolutely.
They're like, well, it's hard to talk like a program director where I'm not making fun of my boss. But it's like, he's got this real deep voice. Like, well, I'm giving it some overnight spins. It's burying it. I mean, there's no difference between overnight spins and a television show that plays in the middle of the night while you're all sleeping. There's no difference. There's no setup. There's no talking about it. Where if you give it to me in the morning and we just yak all morning long, we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to let people call in and we're going to get interaction and we're going to let people, tell us the good, bad, and the indifferent and whatever. So we've built up trust over time with that. Right. So I don't see you guys ever playing that song.
I was hoping that maybe it would be some sort of middle of the road thing where I'm like, okay, maybe all right, but maybe they're going to have another single off this album, obviously. And that's going to be the kinder, gentler one. You always come out with a banger up front. You bring out your balls and your chunk, and then you go with it. So anyway, I just want to give an update on that. And then quickly, we brought it up numerous times, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about the Foo Fighters because I feel like that's all we talk about on the podcast. Is we both kind of wandered around the conversation saying that, this is probably going to be it for the Foo Fighters after the passing of Taylor Hawkins. And then they've got they did the Wembley show, and they're doing the LA show here in a couple of weeks. And you and I kind of agree on the fact that that's it, man. That's lights out, because there's just a lot of hints stacking up. Like you said, when Dave Grohl was doing Times Like These from Wembley, is it, yes, he's upset about Taylor, but is he also in the back of his head, does he know this is the second to last time he'll be with what's remaining of the Foo Fighters? You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know. I can tell you that the internet went crazy with some of the drummers that appeared on the special. And, for your average person watching that thing, everyone looked at Roger Taylor's son, Roger Taylor, the drummer of Queen. And he's the guy that looked like Taylor. He's got Taylor's tattoo. He plays like Taylor. He's a good drummer. I don't know how good a drummer he is. He's the drummer of The Darkness with Justin Hawkins, no relation. Right. But everyone was saying, plug him in, man. He's plug and play. Well, yeah. Josh Freese is better than all of them. Josh Freese was the best drummer. I mean, maybe not Omar Hakim, but right. Josh Freese, who played a lot of the stuff. He was probably the best drummer of the night. And that guy is the greatest drumming free agent out there. I just don't know that they plug somebody in. I just don't know. This show that you're going to in LA is not going to get a broadcast treatment like the London one. They're not doing the Paramount Plus and the MTV and the Pluto TV and all of that stuff.
I wonder nothing.
I wonder why. I can't seem to wrap my head around. Did they think that one was going to be, was that the better of the show? And they don't. I can't imagine, because this is the last one. And I would think that you'd even have more special guests at the LA show.
Correct.
So why would you not? I'm asking you, why would you not cut the same deal and do the similar situation where you streamed it all day?
You know what? I was just thinking the same thing, but like they didn't announce that it was going to be streamed until like really late in the game for the Wembley one. That came down like what, a week and a half, 2 weeks out. That was very close to showtime. They let that out. So I don't know if they're still working on it, but we're getting close. We're about 2 weeks away now. So
yeah. So
it would be.
Fun fact about the Paramount Plus still has it. You can go back and you can kind of retroactive. You can kind of watch it, minus the opening 2 songs.
Gallagher, one of them. Liam, no,
Liam. So Liam Gallagher does "I'm a Rock and Roll Star" and he does "Live Forever." He opens the damn show. Okay, it's Wembley Arena. It's a Gallagher. It's Oasis, right?
Perfect.
Rumor has it Noel will not sign off on the publishing, and that is not being allowed to be rebroadcast.
Oh my God, these brothers are brutal.
If you want to see the performances, it is on, and I don't know if this is for a limited time now, but the 2 songs and how they open up the show, it is on YouTube. Right. So you're going to have to go to that to see it. But that is not a part of like what lives on the streaming service. Wow. And Noel wrote those songs and he controls the rights and the publishing. I don't know,
God damn,
is it a bad look? It seems like everybody was laying down their time and doing it for free and probably signing off on whatever needed to be signed up. You gotta, the music business, right. There's so much that goes on with, hey, okay, yeah, I'm going to come. I'm going to play. Yes, you can rebroadcast this. Yes, those are my songs. You can do this. Provided that you're not making money on this, you got to show us that the money's all going to the Taylor Hawkins, the charities that they had determined. But there's probably a shit ton of lawyers and paperwork and stuff that has to go on behind the scenes. And then there's Noel Gallagher. With his eyebrows going straight across. No, you're not. No, you're just not doing that.
Yeah, he's a more swearing Bert from Bert and Ernie. That's all he is.
Yeah.
I can't believe it, but man, those guys really fucking hate each other. I mean, wow. Go, okay.
Yeah. He's doing it to chap his brother's ass, but the fact that was Taylor Hawkins tribute, and it's not a good look. God, and I like both brothers, and I'll say Noel's my favorite of the 2. Even though I interviewed Liam, Noel's my favorite of the 2. He's the songwriter. He's the funniest one on Twitter, and he's the most savage.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I started getting into that Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. I started really getting into it. I love his voice. He can sing, man. He can sing his ass off. I started getting into some of that stuff. It's really good.
Damn. All right. Yeah. I mean, how much do you really have to hate? Like, I get it. Whatever reason, those guys hate each other so much, and there's got to be a lot of different layers to it. That's one of those ones where you kind of go, all right, I can let this one go. But no, that's the hatred. That's some deep rooted hate.
The complete opposite of what, I wasn't necessarily making predictions, but I was just coming up with like unbelievably silly scenarios that I knew in my heart of hearts were not going to happen. But I said, oh my God, Oasis is going to get back together. And like the complete opposite, it probably made it worse. It probably drove another year before they even talked to each other about possibly getting back together. So the complete opposite of what I had hoped for, semi-predicted, is kind of what went down.
I mean, don't people realize that time is short? You know what? Kind of bury the hatchet. You don't have to bury the hatchet and be BFFs, but man, at least kind of like figure some shit out and go do something. You know what I mean? Like time is not limitless. You got to get your shit together. Well, here's why I brought this whole thing up is that I just saw today on the Foo Fighters Facebook page that they're releasing something called the Essential Foo Fighters. It's like a greatest hits. It's a collection of hit singles and fan favorites. It's out October 28th. Is this another sign that like, hey man, that's it. We're done. We're going to give you this. And then we're pissing off into the sunset. Because it doesn't feel like they would do this to capitalize on these two shows. That feels a little, ugh, you know what I mean?
Famously back in the day, Sammy Hagar, he owed another record to his record company. He owed another record to his record company before he went over to Van Halen, but Van Halen wanted him right away. So I think his out is just slapping together a greatest hits and putting 2 tracks on there.
That's right. I have that somewhere. Unboxed, it was what it was called. Unboxed.
I think that contractually got him out of his deal. So
that's another point then.
Do the Foo Fighters owe one more album on whatever deal they have?
Yeah.
And that gets them out so that they can truly make a decision and move forward. You know, that would be my guess.
That's kind of when I saw that, I was like, ooh, is that another piece of the pie here? You know, or is it, I mean, I don't know. It's all conjecture. And, you know, I don't want that to happen. I would love to see him plug in Rufus Taylor or whoever and continue on. I would love to see the Foo Fighters go on into eternity, you know, but this just feels like, man, it just feels like, ooh, this could be really it. I don't know. And he's never going to, I don't see him coming out and going, okay, that's it. We're all done. I just don't know if he's going to make that announcement, you know, at some point.
Correct. I mean, if you're done, I don't know. If you're done, you got to say you're done. I think you have to say you're done if you're done and you're going to just move forward. Dave Grohl's never going to stop making music. We've said all these things.
Correct.
You know, I think we're going to have him for the rest of our time and he's going to be doing stuff. I don't think he can stop working. I certainly don't think, and there's nothing. Look how he worked his ass off at that Wembley show, man. He was on stage with everybody, man. He played for 6 hours.
He loves it.
So
it's part of his DNA.
He's a bit of a workaholic. So we're going to have him. We just don't know if we're going to have him in the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. But I just wanted to point at that. I was like, oh man, I saw that. I went, oh no, no more evidence. Of course, I'm building this all up in my head. I have no real concrete evidence. So let's shift gears, Rod. A few episodes back,
3 on the Tree.
You came up, you came up with this great idea that you borrowed. That was you put 3 debut albums together, and we went track by track. Track number 1, you know, off of the 10 album. Track number 1 off of Appetite. Track number 1 off of the first Van Halen album. And it got to be like, holy shit, which one do you fucking pick? Like it got hard.
It was difficult. And then after we started doing it with 3 albums, I realized, okay, maybe I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. But our exercise, I believe, was our best debut CD list, like the best first album list. And then, so I knew that those were going to be high. So that's how I kind of prepared that. I'm like, I know that your dumbass loves Van Halen. So I know that you're going to have that one up there, and Guns N' Roses, we both love. And it's just undeniable how great that Pearl Jam 10 album is. So those are the comparisons we were doing track by track.
Now, when we were making the call on which song we like, was it like our favorite? Was it like lasting impact? It was just our favorite of the one, or did we just kind of go, this one's bigger than that one?
Track 1. Which track? It's, I mean, Welcome to the Jungle, man. It's the best. It's one of the greatest needle droppers of all time.
Correct. So I want to take the same philosophy.
Oh shit.
And this is something we can do again and again. I was like, well, wait a minute. This might be fun to try again. And maybe this is going to be shit. So I don't know. We're going to give it a rip. So we've talked to death about songs from 1991, albums from 1991. We've gone down that road enough. We get it. Okay. So I went and I researched the top rock songs of 1991. Now you got to keep in mind in 1991, we're still playing a lot of, it's not just alternative on the radio. It's very little. So I picked the top 10 rock songs of 1991. Okay. And then to make it fun, I went down and, you know, they don't have things broken down years back from that. So I kind of went to the top songs of this certain year, and then I kind of peeled out all the pussy songs. Okay, so I got our top rock songs of 1971. Okay.
Oh shit! You're going back to 71.
Yes, and I just randomly selected those 2 years because a lot of people say 71 is one of the greater years for music. Okay, so I went 1991 top 10. 1971 top 10. Are you ready to go? Because this shit comes out hot.
Okay,
Ready?
71 or 91. I'll keep score.
Keep score on the twos,
So,
and I'm gonna start at number 10 and work my way up to number 1 because that just seems how you do a countdown. I don't know. So number 10.
Number 10.
This is gonna be fucking good. Okay, and then you got to keep in mind, like, once we start going through the songs, you're gonna be like, oh shit, that was huge in that year. Okay. Number 10 from 1991. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme, More Than Words.
More than words.
Ballad, the sitting around in the circle. Yeah, in the video. Okay, this is great. This is so fucked up.
That's when I realized that Nuno Betancourt could like sing his ass off.
Yeah,
because Nuno, I mean, I guess he sang on a bunch of other stuff, but Nuno can really sing, man.
Extreme, More Than Words.
More
And
Than
then
Words.
the number 10 song from 1971. Are you ready?
Yeah.
John Denver, Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Take me home,
Country Road.
I mean,
think about now. Don't just start shitting on John Denver, okay? I always thought it was goofy, but man, you listen to that song and you're driving the car out in the country, you're heading for the hills.
Virginia.
You're heading for the fucking. Have you ever wanted to go to West Virginia so bad?
Fucking going John Denver on that. I'm going John Denver on that, dude. John Denver. People will you had to tell me, you had to stop me from shitting on somebody that I was not going to shit on.
A lot of people do. I've learned to like him more over time.
John Denver was a massive star.
Huge.
He was a national treasure.
He was. Couldn't fly a plane for shit apparently at the end, but he was a hell of a. He ran out of gas. Did you know that? The fucking plane ran out of gas. And he had a ditch and he just fucking went down. Yeah.
That stinks.
Okay. John Denver over Extreme, More Than Words. That's the number 10 song from 1991 versus 1971. I like it. I like that call. That's a good one. Okay.
JD.
This is not going to be easy. Okay. The number 9 top rock song of 1991 was Guns N' Roses' November Rain versus
It's a great song.
versus the number 9 song from 1971 was Rod Stewart's Maggie May.
Oh shit.
I love this game. This is the best fucking game.
Shit.
I mean, it's November Rain. It's epic. It's the piano. But Maggie May, massive hit. Rod Stewart.
Did you see the Lords of Dogtown?
Of course, hundreds of times.
Right.
Love
The
it.
skateboarding, the Zephyrs, the Z Boys.
So fucking good.
And that, what's his name? The Joker is in that.
Yeah. Heath Ledger. He's so great in that movie.
Heath Ledger, he owns the surf shop, but then he starts realizing that he can't own it and run it. So he just works for a boss again. And that's one of the last things in the movie. They're like, okay, boss, I'll get that board ready for you. And then boom, hits the cassette. And then there's Rod Stewart, Maggie May. Shit.
November Rain versus Maggie May, dude. I mean, it's only gonna get harder. I just want to let you know. This is gonna get so fucking hard. It's gonna be the whole podcast tonight.
November Rain is just so freaking epic. And it had the advantage of having an amazing video and everything else. I can only imagine. I mean, 1971, I'm 2. So I don't know what it was like walking around the beach and around the boardwalks that summer, but I can only imagine that fucking song had to be on every radio. It had to be everywhere you went. Every car that drove by, that song had to be on.
Yeah.
But I still don't. I got to go November. I got to go November Rain.
That's a tough one, dude. All right. I'm with you on that one. That was tough. All right. Number 8. The number 8 song. Oh my God. The number 8 song from 1991. Metallica's The Unforgiven. Okay.
Yeah.
The number 8 song from 1971. 3 Dog Night, Joy to the World. I mean, I'm not a Three Dog Night guy, but that song is infectious as hell. Joy to the world.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
If it was one is the loneliest number, maybe. Okay. Could you imagine if it was 1 versus 1? Of
Ooh, well, that'd be different years, but yeah, that'd be great.
course.
That'd be great.
That one I thought was a little easier. I'm gonna go Metallica Unforgiven.
Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah, I would go with that.
To the world.
Number 7.
All the boys and girls. But which one am I singing right now? Three
Joy to the
Dog
World.
Night.
Yeah, Three Dog Night. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna stay with Metallica on that. 7.
Number 7, Van Halen's Right Now from 1991. Massive hit, massive video. That was a huge song. It was in the Pepsi Clear commercial. 1971.
This better be a banger. This better be a banger to even be close to right here.
Yeah,
right now.
it's pretty good. It's Santana's Black Magic Woman from 1971. Black Magic Woman. Yeah. I'm going Van Halen for that one. I've never been a huge Santana guy. I get it. He's great. It doesn't do it for me. Great song, though.
That was a powerful. Those songs from 71 do not have the benefit of because you needed a strong video in 91 still.
Oh,
you
yeah.
still
Huge.
needed to make it amazing. And that was maybe the video of the year.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was huge. It was
That
massive.
may have been the video of the year.
It had all the words going across. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Sammy with peak length of his hair.
looking about the best he ever did. Yeah, no, it's Van Halen right now.
Van Halen right now. I forgot they did the Pepsi commercial. That video is strong.
It's huge. It really helped the song. I'm like, okay, that was 7. 6. The number 6 song from 1991 was Queensryche, Silent Lucidity. Holy shit, this is hard.
A big song. I was never a Queensryche fan, but I know how big that song was.
I did love that song. Okay. And they were kind of going in the same world here. This is kind of odd how this lines up. Queensryche, Silent Lucidity from 1991 versus The Doors, Riders on the Storm from 1971. Holy shit.
Doors.
Two mellow
Doors.
songs. Yeah, you can't beat that. The Rain. I'm doing that wrong, but you get the idea. Silent Lucidity. Remember Queensryche did it on, I don't know if they did it on the Grammys or they did it. Remember they did it and they had the orchestra behind them and it was one of the great performances. I think it must have been the Grammy Award show. And they came out and did Silent Lucidity and it was so good, man. And Jeff Tate can sing. Holy shit, can that dude
Jeff Tate can sing his ass off.
I'm with you. I've never been a huge Queensryche guy, but yeah, I got to go Doors on that one.
Jet City Woman is the only Queensryche song I feel that I like. Why? I like one song.
Yeah, I don't know. I could never get into that band.
Okay. I'm going to give that to the Doors.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Both made it to number 6. Both the 6th biggest rock songs of their respective years. Okay. Number 5.
Number 5. Good luck on this one.
Number 5.
Here's where the shit gets wild. Number 5 from 1991, Alice in Chains, Man in the Box.
Oh, that's fucking great, dude.
I mean, this is one of our bigs right here. This is one of the linchpins.
Because everybody loves Dirt the most. Facelift.
Yeah.
Is the album, man.
One Man in
Don't
the
get me
Box.
wrong. Dirt's amazing. Dirt's amazing. But Facelift is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Man in the Box,
Okay.
still massive. The number 5 song in 1971.
It's gonna
Good luck, dude.
It's gonna be amazing.
Good luck. The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again.
The Who. I mean, as much as I am.
Yeah.
I'm jizzing all over AIC. Of course, it's The Who. Won't Get Fooled Again. Come on.
Scream.
How is that song only number 5?
Well, you're gonna find out in a minute. Okay, yeah, I would go with The Who because that song is it's Won't Get Fooled Again. You can't beat it. All right. Number 4. This is a bit of a weird one, but you got to keep in mind the years we're dealing with. Okay, 1991.
There's got to be some U2 and some REM coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you weed all that out?
No, I did not weed that out. That was not in the top 10.
Really?
Yeah, weird, right? Number 4. Number 4 from 1991.
Number 4.
the Scorpions' Wind of Change.
Oh, yeah, you're on the rock
which
charts.
was huge in 1991. Yeah, because the alternative chart was all this weird shit that nobody knows. Wind of Change, the whistle song about Russia, versus the number 4 song from 1971, Janis Joplin, Me and Bobby McGee.
I fucking can't get into her, man. I can't get into her. What's my problem? Why don't I love her like everybody? Why don't I love Janis Joplin? What's my problem? I live in Texas. She's from Texas. You're supposed to love everybody from Texas when you live here. What am I missing with her? What am I missing? What's not connecting? Okay. I don't hate female singers. I love Amy Lee. What is not connecting with me and Janis Joplin?
And you know what? Really, if you think about it, we should love Janis Joplin. She dressed the part. She looked like a badass. She was raucous. She was fucking crazy.
She's one of the boys.
But you know what? I don't think she had a song that like really like and I'm gonna get my ass kicked for this, but Bobby McGee's a huge song. What's the other one there? Fuck, I remember the other.
Fuck,
one.
I got a brand new stupid pair of roller skates.
I don't know, but she never had like a bunch of songs that you were like, fuck yeah, those are great. She just had like Me and Bobby McGee, but that came out after she died. So we know what happens when somebody dies. That helps your songs go and sell. You know, that's what happened with John Lennon's album after he got shot.
Take Another Little Piece of My Heart is
that's it.
Fucking amazing.
It's
amazing. That is amazing. If that
like
was in there, was in there, well, she wasn't around long enough, dude.
Well, that's what heroin does, I guess. You know.
Okay,
Scorpions.
It's Janis Joplin or the Scorpions. Scorpions it was like a worldwide hit.
Massive.
Right?
It was everywhere. The video walking around Moscow and the square with all those weird buildings and shit.
And that kind of got everybody to go over there and play in Russia, right?
It kind of broke through. Yeah. It definitely helped.
Which Doc McGee put that whole thing together because he got busted shipping cocaine into the. Doc McGee was the manager of Motley Crue, and then he got busted with coke. So instead of going to jail, he's like, well, we'll do some goodwill here, and we'll do some, anti-drug thing. And then they went over to Russia to play, and all they did, everybody was wasted on that plane.
Yeah.
I felt like it was around that time.
It was all that. Well, it's the early 90s, you're coming out of the Cold War.
Shit, I'm sorry. I just cannot. If it was that other Janis song, not this one. I go Scorpions on this one.
All right. I'm going to go with you on that one. Okay. The top 3 of each year.
It was a worldly song.
The top 3 are going to put your brain to work, dude. You ready? Number 3.
Fucking Stairway to Heaven, 71.
Top songs from 1991.
Go ahead.
Number 3, Pearl Jam's Alive versus
what?
The number 3 song from 1971, the Rolling Stones, Brown Sugar. This is so awesome. Holy shit. Wow. Brown Sugar, man. I mean, that's the one about New Orleans, the market down in New Orleans. And it's the lyrics are pretty, it's a lot of race and a lot of going on in that song. If you really listen to those lyrics, man, they're powerful. They're interesting. Pearl Jam's Alive, Rolling Stones, Brown Sugar, 1971 versus 1991.
Here's my reasoning for what I'm about to say. Brown Sugar is not even a top 5 Rolling Stone song.
Right.
Pearl Jam Alive is their first or second best song.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling Stones just have too much other greatness. Brown Sugar's awesome, but it's not a top 5. So that somehow that math makes sense to me. I got to go Pearl Jam on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Pearl Jam on that one as well. That's good. Okay. The top 2. Here you go. You ready?
There might be 10 better Rolling Stone songs than Brown Sugar.
Well, I'm just going by the top charts.
No, I know where you're going, but yeah, you're using 71. I got it.
All right. So number 2 from 1991, Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
The fuck's going to beat that?
Versus the number 2 song from 1971. Hang on. John Lennon, Imagine.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say it before you said it.
Imagine versus Smells Like Teen Spirit. Holy crap. What do you do?
I you have justified something that I've talked about forever in my career, saying that, John Lennon was the spokesperson for his generation. And I said, equally, my generation and our generation, Generation X, he was kind of put in that position. He didn't want it, but Kurt was put in that position. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like that. They don't want to give him the crown. He has the crown. And those are the two spokespersons for their generations going head to head right now. God damn. I got to go John Lennon.
Wow.
I got to go John Lennon on that. That is by far and away the toughest battle until you come with the stupid number one. That's a flip of a coin. I got to go John Lennon. Imagine. I think the world impact of that's Jesus Christ. It smells like Teen Spirit changed everything. I'm going to go John Lennon. I'm going to go John Lennon and take the hate mail.
Yeah. Well, you say that John Lennon was the spokesperson for a generation. He was. Kurt Cobain was a image and an icon of a generation. He was never really a spokesperson. John Lennon preached peace, love, and happiness. Kurt Cobain was trying to avoid interviews. I think it's a little too different comparisons. You're right. They're both iconic for their generations, but Kurt Cobain wasn't walking around going peace, love, and happiness. You know what I mean? Like it was a different sort of thing.
Yeah, he wasn't pontificating outside of his music the way that John Lennon was.
Doing a bed in or a sleep in or a nude in or whatever the fuck John Lennon was doing. And they both sort of ended the same way, only different people pulling the trigger. I mean, you got to I give the points to John Lennon on this one. Yeah.
You do.
You have to. God, that's a tough one.
You don't have to. You don't have to, but
kind of do a little bit. Feels like it. All right, let's just go to number one because it's going to be a beating. The number one song from 1971. I'm going to go backwards now. The number one song from 1971. You already called it, "Stairway to Heaven" from Led Zeppelin.
Motherfucker.
Versus the number one song from 1991, Metallica's "Enter Sandman." I mean, I don't think it's as close as you want to think it is. As I think the one is kind of the undisputed crown king.
I think "Stairway to Heaven" is got to go down as one of the greatest rock songs of all time. And "Enter Sandman" will go down in the top 50 greatest rock songs of all time. But "Stairway" is going to be in that discussion, and they're going to be in the top 5, and you can just kind of jumble them around the way you want. Like the rocks. Yeah. "Stairway to Heaven," right?
Yeah. "Stairway to Heaven." I mean, it's so that was comparing the top songs from 1991 versus 1971. Fun exercise.
So which year had better music? Well, the score is 1971 6, 1991 4. You're telling me that 1971 was a better year than 1991? Damn.
Yeah, I mean, according to this goofy ass little thing we just did, yeah, apparently it is.
You know what? Shout out Francis DeRosa. You're going to be so happy. 1971. I know that you were probably cheering for every one of those songs. Francis is a guy that you and I worked with. Yeah. And I don't talk to him that much. I didn't see him on social media, and I'm always wishing him well. And I loved working with him. He was a radio guy, a music guy trapped in a salesman's body. Yeah. And I never saw somebody more interested in music that was in charge of all the salespeople in my life. I've never come across a guy like him, but he comments on this podcast all the time, and really smart music guy. And I feel like that was for him. I do. I really feel like that was for him. Francis is going to love that.
Yeah, that's it's funny when you said that, because as we're going through, I'm like, oh shit, I think Francis was giving a shit one time. We went through and we said like 91 was the best, and he said no, 71's the best, you dopes. So it's like as we're going through, I'm like, oh, Francis got to eat this shit up. But these are fun. I love these little things, these comparisons. So we'll keep digging these up because this is a blast. Like we'll pick different years. Maybe we'll pick different movies that came out and shit. I love this bit that we've stolen. I think it's really well done. I think it's great. I think it's fun to get into these conversations too.
And it's not math. it's not
It's
2 + 2 = 4 every time. You start coming up with different reasons. I mean, it's not even fucking fair to talk about Van Halen's video when that wasn't even available to Carlos Santana, or whatever. It's not
Right.
fair, but
No.
it's still not going to change my mind. I do think that the power of that Van Halen song, that's a nice slice too of what was going on, because the radio station in Buffalo had not switched yet.
No.
But it showed you how you had this new force coming in of this, quote unquote, this alternative thing happening. And man, they didn't know what to do. And it just started like creeping in, and we've talked about the guys that worked there before us, and they were the rock guys, and, they weren't as open, just like when somebody complains to us about 21 Pilots and all that and Imagine Dragons.
Right.
That's what those guys were hearing. You're thinking, how could they not like, Nirvana and stuff? It just was different. It was this infiltration of what was comfortable to them.
Right.
And then somehow the program directors had to kind of learn to kind of mesh it together. And then it was just undeniable a couple of years later that there's
more of it coming out.
There was just so much of it coming out that it just squashed everything.
And if you think about it, those top 10 songs from 91, Metallica's Enter Sandman, Scorpions' Wind of Change, Queensryche, Silent Lucidity, Van Halen Right Now, Metallica Unforgiven, November Rain, Extreme More Than Words. There's a bit of a feel there. There's a bit of a sound. But then you've got, if you take all those songs and you throw in Smells Like Teen Spirit, Alive, and Man in the Box, those three songs really stick out sonically. They sound way different than those other ones. That's where you just felt it. As soon as that's why they were like, what the fuck is this? So very interesting. And it's funny because, we're in the same age bracket. You talk to someone who's older, they're going to be like, yeah, all those songs from 1971 are way fucking better. But that's where it gets weird, because our musical knowledge is a little bit deeper than the average cat who, is older, who just loves 97 and 1. They don't even know who the fuck Queensryche is. But, so
there was a revolution going on though then, it started with even before Woodstock hit, and there was this musical revolution. And the fact that you and I were involved in that whole sweeping thing from the Seattle sound and everything, it was a revolution, and it changed pop culture. It changed all the different things. I mean, obviously the look and how people dressed and what they were listening to, it just set the world on it set the United States on its ass. Right. And that's what it did, a generation earlier. They said that, experts will talk about, why that music became so popular. Just like, let's look specifically at Nirvana. And people will they'll go and they'll say, well, look at the 5 years previous. And even the guys that were in the popular bands knew that what was happening was just too much image based. I'll pick on Poison. You'll pick on, it's easy to pick on some of these, like, these
cheese bands,
what they call hair bands, okay. They were rock bands, but the image was important. And the image almost started to become more important than the music. And it became very formulatic, which you said, same thing. Every band put out a rock song and then they put out their ballad. The best example would be Warrant, okay, for what I'm talking about. And it just, even though now people go back and look and they dissect the songs and they say Janie Lane was a really good songwriter, but it had its moments. But for the most part, it became so glossy. And it just the substance, and that's when Kurt Cobain and a bunch of people came in and put the industry on its ass. So this stuff you all know. I don't live in the world of the contemporary hit radio and pop radio and stuff. I don't live in that world, but I do watch a few things because I do want to stay kind of plugged in. I want to know what's going on. I didn't watch the Emmys, but I kind of want to I kind of want to know, and the MTV Awards, I kind of want to just know what's going on a little bit. I did watch a little bit of that. I feel like in the pop world, they did exactly what the glam rockers were doing. They're out there, and there's no way of talking about this without sounding old, but the songs are not good. Not just because I don't like that kind of music. The songs are not good. And all of the Pop-Tarts are looking the same. They're all twerking and they're all doing that. And I think that somebody in the pop world, like an Ed Sheeran type of guy, but the next Ed Sheeran, I feel like somebody's going to come in and put the pop world on its ass. There's going to be a pop version. And I thought maybe it was going to be Billie Eilish or something like that. But I think it needs to be even bigger, that just takes all of this formula music that's out right now. Because image is everything with these artists. Image is everything. You know, and I'm not saying that BB Rexa and Doja Cat, I'm not saying that they're not talented, but it seems to be there's a formula right now. There's a look right now. And I think someone's going to come in the pop world and do what Kurt Cobain did. It's just because it's too glossy. Pop music's always been gloss, but right now it's so glossy to me. And I could be just completely out of touch and not know what I'm talking about. I just think it's always in a cycle. There's always things that happen. And right now, with these asses shaking and everybody twerking and these songs are not good, that Nicki Minaj song, listen, Nicki Minaj is talented. Okay. She's a really good rapper, I think. I really do. The first time I heard her stuff, like Jay-Z, it was really, really good. What I see now, it's just all about the image.
Yep.
And I'm making some weird prediction of a world in a space that I don't live in, but there's going to be something that happened to all of those glam rockers is going to put these Pop-Tarts on their ass. You know, I really do.
If you look at like Lady Gaga, you know, she was one that kind of changed it. She changed the game a little bit. I mean, she was uber weird, but she was uber talented, had the songs, has the talent. And at that time period, when she came out, it was kind of a glossy, same thing. You know, pop kind of, like you said, goes in circles, but the circles spin a lot faster than they do in the rock world. You know, I think when Gaga came out, you're like, okay, she's weird as fuck, but it's different. You know what I mean? Like she was different when she came out. She was wearing the meat suits and all that shit. I mean, it was way over the top, but you know what? It worked. And she's still plugging away, you know? So, I mean, maybe there's the next of that, you know, going to come out in the pop world. You know,
I don't know. I don't know. It's just a prediction, just a call. You know, I think there's another Ed Sheeran out there that's even younger though. And it's just going to pull everybody and they're going to look at that stuff and kind of go, and they're going to laugh at it. Cause that's exactly what the grunge kids did. They laughed at Rat and Firehouse, and they laughed at it. And I think I can see that happening in the pop world.
I think, you know, it's funny because like I'll talk to a lot of different people, you know, to go behind the curtain in radio like we love to do is, you know, when you're a program director, and don't even say it, you talk to a lot of record labels and they want you to play their stupid songs, right? And they call you up and all the bullshit, you know? And I talk to a lot of these guys who've been doing the business for a lot of years are like, and we always get these conversations, and I have like the conversations we have in the podcast, I have a lot of these much shorter conversations with different record guys I've known for years. And somehow we always get back around to, man, you know, where's that next Nirvana? Where's that rock explosion? Where's that next? Where's that next? Where's that next? You know, we had 71 was great. 91 was great. The fuck's the next one? You know, we and just a few guys, we're just sitting around going, man, wouldn't it be cool if? And it's like, you start talking about it and it's like, you know, we all kind of looked at Greta Van Fleet for a minute, like, guitars. The kid's got a cool voice. But then they never had a hit that stuck, you know? And it's like, okay, well, there's this band. Well, you know, nothing's really hitting. It is cool to see some more rock songs on the alternative chart, though, I got to say, the last year or so. So it's kind of cool to see that. But yeah, are we going to get another rock explosion like we've had? Man, I don't know. I don't know. It's too splintered.
I don't know, because there's been like little sub movements. Correct. You know, there's been, because, you know, you got to look at a guy like Jack White, and there's been like these subgenres within the alternative. Even you got to look at the Imagine Dragons had a sound that people started chasing that sound, you know, and then you had X Ambassadors, and you had a couple of these big drum things, and you had some of that going on. If you remember before that, if you want to look at Jack White, but I would also put the Black Keys in there. And I listen to Advertising, and you were hearing that sound, a little fuzzier guitar fuzz. And that's where, those two guys, but there was that sound, and that was kind of big for a little while. Black Keys were really on top for a long time, for a couple of years. They were on top. And then it kind of came around, and there's been little movements, obviously 21 Pilots had their thing, and then people were kind of running around and chasing that sound. Nirvana didn't chase a sound, they just, they didn't invent something, but they did. They did. Because it was an attitude too, though. And that's where I think the next explosion is in the pop world, because it's getting too glossy, that I do think if the next genre to get thrown on their ass is the pop world. And it might not be for another 2 years, but you'll say, holy shit, there was a guy on this podcast that, no, I forgot. I didn't listen to that podcast.
Right. But you know what? You give the Black Keys, the Jack Whites of the worlds, those little pods, those little silos, and that's exactly what they were. They were silos. They were one band. The grunge thing had all of these bands coming out at the same time, and then other bands jumped on. Then you had Bush and you had Stone Temple Pilots, and they were all in that same world at the same time. And it just was this launching of all these artists that just came out. The Black Keys, that's one. Jack White kind of one. We've not had that. Holy shit! Here comes the cavalry.
But you were thinking that was going to be a spark. The cream, it rose to the top, and then you're thinking, okay, now can they go get a bunch of these right away? And then it didn't. There was a couple of things that maybe you could kind of put into that pen, but there, we were getting a lot of music we were listening to, like after Imagine Dragons, and it was just sounding Imagine Dragon-y,
I called all that music Lion King soundtrack music. If you listen to Lion King music, if you watch Lion King,
because of the big drums,
it's all. Every time I heard any of that shit, I'm like, God damn, how many times are they gonna do another song from the Lion King soundtrack? It's what it all sounded like after a while. So, Rod, I want to get into our top 5 list of biopics we'd love to see made. I finally saw the Elvis movie. I know you saw it, so I want to dig into that for just a brief second. But we gotta take a break. We got to talk about the Rod Ryan Show. It's got 2 big boobs. Yeah, wait, I'm reading this wrong. They have 2 big boobs rock events coming up. First up is the Boobs Rock Car Show presented by West Houston Muscle, Saturday, October 1st at 10 a.m. By the way, kudos to the flyer designer with the 69 Dodge Charger on there. I like that. I thought that was a nice job.
I like that.
Everyone of all ages welcome, and it's not too late to sign up for your ride. All right, get in on this thing. This is gonna be very cool. Then it's the Boobs Rock Golf Tournament, October 19th. Still time to sign up. Your foursome, everything benefits breast cancer research there at the MD Anderson Clinic, and all the info is on the world famous Rod Ryan Show page at thebuzz.com. The car show is Saturday, October 1st, and the golf tournament is on October the 19th. Damn, car show and golf. This is like 2 of my favorite things.
It's like old school radio, like doing things, like going out, having fun, talking to people that listen to your radio station, and shaking hands, and it's fun. It's good.
We've talked about that in the past. Like nobody does those things anymore, really, in radio, and it's very disconcerting. And that's why your station is very successful, Rod. Hats off to that. Saw the Elvis movie finally the other day, and my mom has been on me to watch the damn thing. She's like, I've seen it 3 times. I've gone to the movie 3. I've gone to the movie theaters 3 times, and she's like, I'd go again. So She loves it. Now think about. And I haven't talked to her about it yet. And I can't wait to get into it with her, because we're talking some generational stuff here now. She grew up. She was a young girl when Elvis was coming out new. You know what I mean? So she took the ride. She was, devastated when he died. She went and she took the ride with Elvis, basically, right? I'm looking back on it as you are, as, hey, I love Elvis. I love the pop culture of it. I love the icon. I love all that stuff. So I'm looking at this movie. I think that's what you have, is just generationally looking at that movie differently. You know what I mean? Like my mom freaking loves that movie. I really, really liked it.
But it goes hand in hand. but it goes hand in hand with exactly what we're talking about, how Nirvana put everybody on their ass. And then the Woodstock generation, the person that put them on their ass, Elvis was a huge part of that, putting people on their asses. Like, what is this?
Right.
What the hell is this right now?
Yeah.
I like that. The movie took time, because the movie is about Elvis, but Elvis seemed uncomfortable with that title of the King of Rock and Roll. And he said that, that it was Fats Domino. And then, they make sure that they show Little Richard, and they show that, there was a woman that sang Hound Dog. So I like the fact that they educated people on that stuff. They're, you're not making that movie for music critics, or people that are super, super into music. You're making a movie. So I'm glad that they took the time, because we always say it's a movie, it's not a documentary, but I thought those were really important things to establish. That, Elvis looked at these black performers, and just his mind was completely blown, and he owed everything to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they did that right by showing that, I mean, he just wasn't this wonderkin kid, he was, but his influence came from that church,
Yep. Like I said, I liked the movie a lot, and I'm going to watch it again, but I really liked it. I felt like, and the problem with it is there's so much material with Elvis. Like I was like, it felt like it was going along great. I'm like, I'm digging it. And then it just sort of was like, oh yeah. And then he died, and that's that. I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck? Like it ended. It felt like it just chopped off at the end. You know what I mean? It was like, wait, well, dude was just singing, and now, don't take pills, go get rehab, and he's dead. I'm like, oh, we're ending just like that. It felt the way the thing ended. It was very. Did
you want it to be a little darker as far as like his demons and stuff? I mean, I think they showed him cheating on Priscilla. They showed him cheating on her once. He must have cheated on her 1,000 times.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he did. And the pills and everything.
I thought it was pretty dark. I thought that was pretty fucking dark. The pills, and then the doc when he passed out there in the hallway.
I still think they wanted him to be a swell guy, they were taking care of their lead character in that movie.
Right.
And they just went this dark because they want my mom to romanticize about the Elvis that she loves, and they don't want to do anything that's going to ruin that. So I know why they did what they did, but I think they could have gone a little bit. It could have got a little deeper into some of the problems that Elvis had. Okay, he passes out, blah, blah, blah. They shoot him, and they give him the adrenaline shot and whatever, and he goes on stage. It's covered because they had to. Because they had to.
It's just, and what I walked away with that movie feeling was, wow. And what's this? And this is going to sound so fucking stupid, not out of the ordinary for me, but the guy is the biggest ever, basically, right? I mean, he sold albums, Grammys, you fucking the biggest. And I felt like he barely scratched the surface. Like the way it was handled, the way he wasted his career so many different ways. That fucking manager, Colonel Parker, was the worst piece of shit in a way that let this guy do shit. It felt like he could have done so much more with what he
Colonel
had.
Parker, again, we don't know the ins and outs of everything. It's just how it was portrayed in that movie. But what a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Colonel Parker was. What an absolute piece of shit he was. If half of how they portrayed him is true, he's still a pile of shit. Yeah, there's no two ways around it. That guy was just a horrible human being. Just awful. Everyone said that he didn't have an accent at all. I don't know why Tom Hanks played it that way. It's not like you're talking about a guy that people weren't around all the time. And he just went in a different direction with it. I never heard Colonel Tom Parker speak, but more and more people are talking like, yeah, he didn't sound like that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Where was Tom? He's drawing from something. It's a really, really good movie. He was every bit as good as Rami Malek was as Freddie Mercury. He was every bit as good. The only thing that's going to keep him from winning the Oscars is the competition of the other movies. That might sound very obvious, but you can't not because in recent times you have somebody that was in a musical, a rock biopic, and they won the best actor. So of course you're going to compare. He was just as good as Rami Malek. All you got to do is read a couple of articles online, and there's plenty of people that feel that Rami Malek may be the worst best actor winner of all time. It just must have been a shitty year for movies, you know?
Huh. Weird.
So, I mean, I thought he was really, really good. Who was better? What actor was better? I'm not asking you if you like Freddie Mercury more than Elvis. Elvis was a bigger individual, but who was the better actor?
I mean, you're pulling off one of the most iconic humans. You know, to pull off Elvis, I thought there was, and I told you this earlier, is that the guy who played Elvis, there were moments where you're like, oh my God, like they had certain angles on his face, or he'd turn his head. You're like, holy shit, that's fucking Elvis. Like he nailed it.
And I found the complete opposite. I found there were some times when he was sitting there on the Ferris wheel with Tom Hanks, and he looked nothing like Elvis.
Correct.
There were moments where he looked nothing like him, but he was good enough in his acting that he suspended me. And I believe I was watching Elvis. I mean, let's face it. Joaquin Phoenix looks nothing like Johnny Cash. I don't think he looks anything like Johnny Cash.
Not at all, but he nailed it.
But he nailed it. And it's like, okay, not everybody's going to be Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx and Ray, that again, Academy Award.
Right.
It's not even in the same class, not even in the same class.
No,
but
you can go Val Kilmer and Jim Morrison. And that was that, he didn't win for that, but it was
great.
Unbelievably great.
What actor did better?
Out of all those?
No, I'm talking just the Queen movie and the Elvis movie. And okay, let's baby step into that.
Wow.
He gets an Oscar nod, right?
He should.
He definitely gets nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor. I think he gets that. I think he's going to get that.
Yeah.
Was he better than Rami Malek?
Wow, that's really good, because I actually like the Queen movie better than the Elvis movie, and I'm not a huge Queen fan, but I thought that was just a great movie. It was just really well done. I like the Queen movie. I like the Elvis movie too. I gotta go with the Elvis guy.
No. Really?
Yeah, I really liked him, man. Although, you know what? I don't know. Shit, it's tough because, I was like thinking about like how like Freddie Mercury really had to fight uphill to get there. His fight was more of a longer struggle through the movie, to get past the big teeth and the weird name and all that shit, and his parents being against him. And Elvis just all of a sudden, Elvis is fucking great.
Yeah. There
like,
was never
weird.
There was never 1 second during that Queen movie that I didn't think I was watching Freddie Mercury.
That's true.
There was never even a second.
And the Live Aid performance where it's step by step was brilliant.
Jeez,
brilliant.
I mean, they're both good. They're both really good performances. I think Rami Malek did better.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go. I gotta watch the Queen and the Elvis one again. I just, the Elvis one felt like it just all of a sudden it's going along. You're like taking this ride with Elvis. And you're like, this is great. And then all of a sudden, bam, it's over. I'm like, what happened? How the hell? I mean, I know how it ends, but
Austin Butler is going to be a huge star, right? Like he's going to be He's going to be the next Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
He's Leo. He's Brad. He's big. He's big. He's so cool. So talented. You're like, that kid's a badass, man. He's just freaking cool. I just hope he makes good choices along the way here. The next
stay clean, get good, get it. Find your Martin Scorsese, find your Scorsese and then just link up with him and then just make all of his movies, Martin handpicked, De Niro. And then when De Niro got old, he's like, okay, bring me Leo, and then just put Leo in everything. So I think Austin Butler, I really do. I think he's gonna be a huge, huge star. So I got an email. We were talking about Ozzy Osbourne, and he did the halftime show last week before in the middle of the Bills game. It was the NFL season opener, and the cry from my audience was, at a 2 that they didn't show the whole thing. There was a couple people that were butthurt. They showed 9 seconds of Ozzy. I do talk about Ozzy. I do feel that Sharon is working his ass. We don't know that Ozzy can walk. Okay. If you didn't see the performance, Ozzy comes from under the stage. He stands there, does the 2 songs, and then he goes back down. We don't know that Ozzy can walk.
He's probably, he had a big long coat on or something too, so he might be propped up.
And Sharon's got him out there with 2023 dates. There's 2023 dates for Ozzy. Who? Ozzy, is Jack? Who is it? Who's doing these dates in 2023?
Amy.
So the guy said, hey, man, this is all really interesting stuff that you're talking about. I never thought about it because I'm like, Sharon's working his ass, man. Let the guy retire. He goes, what do you think about an Ozzy biopic? Is it big enough? Because the things that you talk about, Rod, this could be really interesting. I said, here's what happens. Okay. If you do an Ozzy biopic and you want to use the music and you want to get access to everything, then you got to have Sharon and Ozzy sign off on it. Well, then they're going to dictate the story. So they're not going to give you the stuff that we're talking about. There's not going to be any of it's going to be through their lens.
Right.
If you do it without them, then you don't get access to the music. You don't get anything signed off. Now you're doing secondhand interviews because the close people in the circle won't talk and it just won't be good and you're dead in the water. So I think Ozzy's story and Black Sabbath's story is very worthy. I think it's very worthy. It's one that I obviously would be super interested in. Does it have the mass appeal of what we've seen? I mean, did the Beatles get a movie before them? We'll see. But that's why we want to do this list. And I sent it over to Jason earlier today. And I said, all right, who are the top 5 that are just waiting in line to get the right script? Because I do feel that Motley Crue on Netflix, I felt like that was perfect. I don't think it was a slight on the band. I didn't feel that Motley Crue deserved to be in a movie theater with the Elvis movie that you just saw.
No.
And I'm saying but the budget would have been bigger. The actors would have been bigger, everything, Yep. But I still don't think Motley Crue, I think for what they did, I really enjoyed that Netflix movie, The Dirt. I thought it was really good. That was all I needed. That level was perfect for them.
Right.
Big screen is big screen. It's Johnny Cash. It's Tina Turner. It's Ray Charles.
Right.
It's Elvis. It's Queen.
Yeah. Doors.
So you got to walk in those steps. You can go out. You can go outside the box. It's what you want.
Yeah. I want every band to have one done, at least on Netflix, because I love that shit. To hear the backstory, to see the rise out of the ashes. You know what I mean? Like the garage and into the limelight. I love those stories. I freaking love all that shit. And then, you come out with the success and then you got to figure, okay, wait a minute. I wanted all this success. Now I've got success. How do I deal with the success and bust out that second album? And if it's successful, then holy shit, I got more success. Or if it tanks, now I'm fucked. You know what I mean? Like all these different stories. That's what I love about all of them. The Dirt, I loved. I've seen that 4 or 5 times. I'll go watch that one again. I love The Dirt. I think it's great.
I thought everybody was cast pretty well in that.
It was fine. It was fine. You don't have to look exactly like. You just got to portray that person. You can suspend the belief. I had no problem with the Motley Crue one. I really liked that one. I
think the guy that played Nikki Sixx was the best. I mean, I thought he was awesome. Yeah, I really do. I mean, the Vince Neil guy was horrible, but Vince Neil was kind of horrible. So it's okay, I mean, and then, having the Battle of the Bastards guy from Game of Thrones.
He was great as Mick Mars.
He was awesome, and then of course, you got to go with, Tommy Lee, Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly. He did good, man.
Yeah, he was cool. Yeah.
All right, let's go, man. Top 5, starting with number 5, Jason. Biopics, who you'd like to see, who's on deck to get the treatment to be in the movie theaters.
In the movie theaters. Well, and if it's done right, and it comes with, I want the music, I want all of it. So it's got to be done the right way. Okay. I want this thing. It doesn't have to be a ton of warts. Like I could have, like you said, with Elvis, I could have taken a little more of the dirty, nasty shit.
They could have got their hands. They could have got their hands a little dirtier with Elvis. A little
dirtier. They could have went more R-rated on some of that stuff. I would have been okay with that.
But it's Baz Luhrmann. It's Great Gatsby. You know,
it's all shiny and pretty and stuff. So I would love to see a great Sinatra biopic.
Oh,
Because there's
nice.
so many layers there. You've got the music, you've got the acting, you've got the mafia, you got the Vegas shit, you got the Rat Pack. And that's just 5 things I'm thinking off the top of my head. Think about his story. And then, you know what I mean? Like, think about how the shit, and then think about, you know, like a lot of these biopics do a good job of bringing in the time period. Like the Elvis movie did a great job. You know, Kennedy got shot, Robert Kennedy got shot, Martin Luther King Jr. got shot. So they brought in the historical moments around to kind of give you the sense of, holy shit, there's a lot going on while this is happening to Elvis. Think about Sinatra, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the shit they could wheel in. What's he involved with, you know? So yeah, I think Sinatra is a home run. I think that's mass appeal. That's massive appeal. But who plays him? You know what I mean? That's some
young kid that we don't know.
Yeah, that's how it's got to be.
You know what I mean? Some, you know, did you know Austin Butler? Nope. No. So you get some kid that we don't know yet, and he becomes the next Austin Butler.
Actually, Sinatra probably should have been higher on my list. Now that I just went with Sinatra. I didn't even number these because I had so many good ones here. So let's call that number 5. I put in Led Zeppelin, but I think that's probably 10 years down the road. They're going to wait till these guys are gone, then put it out. But they got to have the music. Think about their story. You know,
what do you? I mean, why? Okay, why you got to wait till they're gone? Don't you want them walking the red carpet?
Oh, I think it'd be great. I don't think it'll ever happen in their lifetimes. I don't think Robert Plant wants that to come out. He's so like in his other world. He doesn't give a shit about Zeppelin anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see it ever hitting the light of day until they're gone. You know what I mean? But think about their story. Starting out, fucking Robert Plant's like 19 years old. That's all blowing up. You know, you lose Bonzo, the drummer. Robert Plant loses his kid, has to cut. His kid dies from I forget some kind of disease. Something happened to him. I can't remember what it was. You got the whole black magic shit with Jimmy Page and coming from out of the Yardbirds. All the shit with Led Zeppelin. There's a lot of leather.
Do you include them banging that groupie with a mud shark? Do you put that in? Do you put that in your movie, Jason? In your Zeppelin movie?
It's going to be an R rating. Then it's going to be an R rating. So I got to go with a Zeppelin pick. Or
do you do a mud shark scene? You know, for the later release. You know, with this is what got cut. Here's the mud shark. Guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, look up Zeppelin and mud shark. That's it. You go look up that on your own.
You just find out where that fish went. Let's just say it didn't smell any different. Oof. You know who I want to see a biopic of? And this one's
tell me.
Going. Dolly Parton. I want to see a biopic of Dolly Parton. I'm not even a Dolly Parton fan. She's been doing music for 200 years. She's got to be a vampire at this point.
It would crush at the theaters. She appeals to so many different people.
But her story, like starting out super young, Grand Ole Opry, writing those 2 famous songs on the same day, Jolene and I Will Always Love You, and then the impact of all the other songs. Like she turned down, I think Elvis wanted to sing one of her songs. She said, nah, then it becomes yours. She turned it down. Like there's some story there. I don't know if she's got a lot of dirt because she doesn't seem like she does, but a biopic on Dolly Parton, if they could dig up enough dirt and other cool shit and all her philanthropy. Dirt. Yeah.
The only problem I'm sure she's had problems. I'm sure there's been heartache. I'm sure there's been things, but there's nothing that you and I can say off the top of our head. Oh yeah. And then when they get into this part, boy, that's going to be interesting. The only thing that's interesting is that what the fuck is under that wig? So they're going to have to show when they caught
Darth Vader's
dad without his fucking helmet on. Like if they show that, then I'm in. And then what the fuck does that husband look like? Where is he stored?
Yeah.
Get the gimp.
Her jugs, like she's actually flat chested, and for all these years, it's just been like balloons.
I don't know that there's enough ups, highs, and lows for that. It just seems, but because a movie that we didn't talk about, Coal Miner's Daughter,
Yeah.
But I think Dolly comes from that like dirt floor shit, like just like coal miner's daughter. So
Maybe
I guess
maybe she was the girl in the mud shark scene. Maybe that was her. Maybe it was
Dolly?
We don't
No,
know. We don't know. It's a dark
too
thing.
pure. I'm gonna get those jugs in anything.
What was that, 3?
That was your number 3.
That was my number 3. I gotta say, and they've attempted it, but it's hard with the estate. Jimi Hendrix. They did an attempt with the dude from Outkast.
Andre 3000. They didn't get the okay from the family. They didn't use any music. He was perfect. He looked just like him.
He was great. He played it right. He played it cool. He was. I'm like, as I'm watching it, I didn't know anything. I saw it years ago, and I'm like, where's all the fucking Jimi Hendrix music? Why is he not playing guitar? This is shit. It was all kind of hanging out and trying to. It just didn't quite work.
That is my prime example of if you don't get the family to sign off on it, the problem is when the family signs off on it, then they're fucking sitting there in their fucking folded chair and they're watching over you, you know?
Mud sharks. Get that mud shark out of here.
That's it. No, we're trying to forget that. Listen, we're not going to mention that Jimmy Page took a 14-year-old girl out on the road with him. Okay. Nope. He's not going to allow that. Nope. So you got to get them to sign off and then you're not allowed to fucking be on the set.
Well, they aged up Priscilla in the movie, so, in the Elvis movie. So I mean, they took some liberties.
They glossed over that.
So what's that? 2?
That was your number 2.
My number 1 is kind of fucked up, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. And there's a reason. I want to see this one made, but not for like 20 years.
20 years.
I want it done in 20 years. I want a biopic on Dave Grohl in 20 years because of all the shit he's done, Nirvana, and I want the real shit. I don't want all this piecemeal, we hear bits and pieces through interviews about Kurt and the first album and all the instruments. We kind of know that, but I want to go for that ride. You know what I mean? And then now you've got this fresh, horrific situation with Taylor Hawkins and the Foo Fighters. Years are going to go by. What's his third act? Because that's really how this all lines up for the poor guy. What's act 3?
If Dave Grohl, if act 3 is
it's a solo thing, it's gotta be.
He becomes Bruce Springsteen,
right?
Or Tom Petty. Which he loves Tom Petty. He becomes that Americana guy, and that's where the Foo Fighters, you're right. Chapter 2 ends. Chapter 3 is just Dave Grohl, and he just goes out and he's Dave Grohl now. And that's his catalog,
Yeah.
He can do it all. And who knows? I mean, then maybe this is where he does start putting some Nirvana stuff in the set. He just never has, but
who knows?
You can't just say I'm not doing Nirvana, but I'm going to do Foo Fighter shit. That's not fair,
Right.
So,
right.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's a left field thing.
If he becomes Bruce Springsteen, then yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a weird one. But once you do your top 5, I've got a few others that I want to throw on there, but I'm not gonna do it.
Mine kind of flew out of me and flowed out of me pretty quick. And the one that's the weirdest one for me, because I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm coming at this from, I'm a fan, but I want to get credit when it does come out and it wins at the box office because everybody goes and sees it.
Right.
I think Fleetwood Mac has a story.
Oh, yeah.
I think Fleetwood Mac is huge. Chicks love Fleetwood Mac. Find me a girl 40 years plus that doesn't absolutely love Fleetwood Mac. It's impossible.
Stevie Nicks and the Scarves. Yep.
35 years old up. Find me a chick that doesn't like Fleetwood Mac. I don't think my sister likes them that much. I think there's a story there. Everybody was banging everybody. It was like a restaurant. Everybody was having sex with everybody. Cocaine out of buttholes. And you start at the very beginning with Peter Green, and that was a different sounding band, like Fleetwood Mac. What the hell? They sounded nothing. But then when Lindsey Buckingham came in with that package deal with Stevie Nicks, Boom. The whole world changed. But you got everybody writing songs. You got everybody having sex and falling in love with one another. And I think that combines all of your Real Housewives fans for all of that angle. It is great music. I mean, Fleetwood Mac is great. They're not my favorite band, but I think there's a real story there.
Oh yeah, totally. I agree.
There's hardships. There's a little bit of everything. And I think that would translate to on the big screen. So I got that as my number 5. My number 4 is, I'm doing a Jason Ginty here.
Come on, don't do that.
But I do feel like it's an Ozzy Sabbath story.
Yeah.
I think, and you can't do Ozzy without doing Sabbath, so you have to include them. So is it just Ozzy? Is it just Ozzy?
You do the Ozzy story, but you take it from the factories as a kid all the way through. You take it all the way through.
There's so much entertainment. You get the right guy to play him. The guy that played Ozzy in The Dirt was goofy.
Yeah, it was kind of.
He was goofy. I mean, that barely belonged on Netflix. I thought they could have done a better job of casting the guy that played Ozzy. I thought he was a little silly. But I think Ozzy has a great story.
Go for all the way through everything. The solo stuff. I mean, think about what he's been through. I mean, holy shit. Why his hasn't happened yet? Well, it's because the signing off. They won't let and he's nothing but warts. He's mud shark every scene.
Correct. So what's Shannon going to allow? And I think Shannon is so money grubbing that she'll allow all those stories. You know, she's obviously very protective of the franchise, but
yeah,
I think she would sign off on a movie tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. She would sign off on a movie tomorrow. And there is that whole angle of Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it, man? You know, I think Ozzy attacked her a couple times, so
he went to jail for it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff. I really think that would be I think it would be a huge movie.
Absolutely.
And I do think I kind of disagree with you. Do it when he's alive. Do it while he's here. So that he gets re-celebrated. Yeah. I think you do need to do it quickly, but when these movies come out, you re-celebrate that person. That's why with your Zeppelin thing, I think it needs to be done while they're here. Right. 4, 3, Nirvana.
Yeah.
I think some of these are just super obvious, but I think there's enough there. I do. I think there's absolutely enough there.
Yeah, you'd have to.
What else can we say that we haven't already said about Nirvana? There's been movies that have kind of like mimicked and kind of been based on Kurt's life. I've seen some weird things on cable, but I think a full-on Nirvana movie.
Well, that's kind of why I went with the Grohl version. Take him through it. Let him do all that Nirvana stuff. Take it through his lens. You know what I mean? The Nirvana thing is cool. I like it. It feels very short to me.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I left Guns N' Roses off of my list, because it's way too short. It's way too short for a movie in the theater.
Right.
So spoiler alert, I'm not putting GNR in my top 2. I got Nirvana at 3. Shocker, I have Kiss at 2.
But Kiss has a story that's massive. And if the fucking 2 mooks that run that band would get out of the way and let someone do it right.
And they won't. Awesome. No. They will not peel back to let you see. No. Gene will allow himself to be portrayed as being a money grubber and a womanizer and all that, but he will not allow how things really went. You would have to have Paul and Ace, who are still pissed off to this day. You'd have to give them some say in shaping these characters. Yeah. And face it, Paul and Gene are never going to let that happen. Nope. I think a Kiss movie, it's the one thing they haven't done. Well, Kiss meets the Phantom.
I think that has potential to be massive. But again, those guys got to go sit in the corner. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get to say fuck all about this. I want to hear the stories of Gene Simmons crying in the back, all upset because his wig was fucking falling off, or I want to hear the dirty stuff. I want warts and all the Kiss. Don't keep glossing over the same bullshit every time they come out with something.
So, not on my list, not on your list. Madonna is currently in the middle of doing this, and she's making that movie, and she's on set. I believe her that she's going to allow us to see things that maybe don't put her in the best light. I believe so. Madonna. I really do. Don't get me wrong. She's super smart, but I do feel like she will push the boundaries, and she'll show things that she's probably uncomfortable sharing. I think I trust her for some reason. I don't know why. I don't trust Paul and Gene. Never do I trust them to hurt the franchise because they want this thing going on for another 100 years with the grandchildren's grandchildren dressing up in the dumb makeup and playing those songs. So they don't want to do anything to hurt what's basically a Disney franchise.
You know what? We didn't bring up, actually, and it was very well done, I thought. Elton John's biopic was very well done. I thought the guy who played him was good.
Was it?
But Elton John had his hand all over it. So he probably whitewashed some shit. Although it's pretty public knowledge that Elton John was quite on the drugs and all that shit.
Yeah.
But that wasn't.
And they showed it.
They showed him. I thought it was interesting. I didn't like the way that it was like every time a scene happened, it led into that song. It felt a little too musical, like, you know what I mean? It was
a musical.
Yeah, it wasn't quite what I was hoping it was going to be, but I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it.
Nobody told me that was a musical.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, well, every time they have a scene and then it leads into the song, I'm like, this is horseshit.
Here's a scene, and here's a scene, and it's like,
can I give her a song?
Still standing. I'm like, why are you looking at the camera singing right now? What are you doing? This is a musical. How do I not know this? Why are you looking at me and singing right now and dancing? Where do those dancers come out of? Like the movie Fame, they come jumping out and there's like 9 of them dancing now. This is a fucking musical.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that.
I didn't like that part of it. I didn't like that, but I still thought it was decent, you know? All right. What do you got? Number one?
I just think it's the most obvious thing out there. The Beatles.
Yeah.
I think a Beatles movie, it's just, come on. I mean, after we just saw that 8-hour thing that Disney Plus put out, the Beatles have just never not been the biggest band of all time. The biggest band of all time, hands down. Nobody comes close. And while we still have Paul and Ringo, yeah, you got to do it. I think you have to do it. Why isn't there a Beatles movie? Why isn't there one?
I think there's probably too many moving parts, man. There's too much involved, right? I mean, at this point, still you got John Lennon's estate, Yoko, the kids, you got Paul, and then you got Ringo, and then, you know, George Harrison. Who the fuck knows what his estate would do? There's a lot of moving parts there. You know, you talked about lawyers and all this paperwork with the Foo Fighters thing earlier. This is bigger. This is nuts.
I don't know.
A lot there.
I just think it's the biggest story that has yet to be told. I think it's just an absolute obvious slam dunk number one. Look at what's already come out. It's almost silly that this one's missing. It's silly at this point that this one is missing.
There's a reason, though. There has to be a reason. It's got to be all of those. I mean, it took this long to get Elvis to come out. I mean, that's huge.
I really don't know. I don't know why it hasn't been done. Bubbling Under, I had Zeppelin.
Yep.
I had the Who.
Yeah.
Didn't we look up the Keith Moon movie?
We talked about it, but
did we say that it was dead in the water? Because Mike Myers wanted to do it, and Mike Myers, now he's too old, but he looked like Keith Moon a little bit. Like he could have pulled off Moon the Loon for sure.
Back in the day, he could have. Yeah. I don't know if that ever got off the ground.
I forgot. We looked it up on the show. I think something will happen with the Who. The one that was way deep, and this is just because I think it would make a great movie. You just got to hear me out. This is like the most out there one of them all.
I got one.
Badfinger.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Okay. So Badfinger had a ton of hits, okay? No matter what you are. They sounded like the Beatles because they were the first band signed to Apple Records.
Correct. And Paul wrote some of the songs for them. Yeah.
Yep. So they had that. They had Baby Blue. They had Day After Day. They had big hits, okay? And then the Beatles, it was right around the time that the Beatles were breaking up, and they were bringing the Badfinger guys in on everything. I mean, it's the lead singer and George, I believe in Bangladesh, they're jamming together. They're just,
Okay.
I mean, so they're all over. They're really ingrained in the Beatle thing. Okay. And the lead singer, they got screwed over by their manager. So there's conflict. The lead singer has a baby on the way and kills himself.
I did hear that. Yeah.
Doesn't have the money. Then there's this, and he, in his suicide note, mentioned the manager, mentioned his kid, his wife, and then, oh yeah, by the way, that manager's like a piece of shit. Kills him, hangs himself.
Jeez.
This manager stole all their money. They had these huge, massive hits. It's all tied up forever. And this is in,
Oh, that's like early 70s, right?
this is in the 70s. In the 80s, the other guy there's 4 guys in the band. There's another guy that's still not over it. He kills himself.
Yes.
And then someone else dies of a brain aneurysm. This was the most unfortunate band that was going to be massively huge. And they got caught up in legal battles and they weren't able to do anything.
Right.
They were these very prolific writers. They were all great musicians. Badfinger is, I imagine there's not even 10% of whoever's still listening to this thing knows who the hell they are. I'm telling you, it was one of the best VH1 behind the musics that they did. And I couldn't even believe that they gave them an hour on Sunday night back in the day, but they never reran it. Go back, go dig that one out. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, Badfinger. I've heard the stories. It's fucked up. Those poor guys.
It's one of the saddest stories of the potential. Think about it. The Beatles could have signed anybody they wanted, and they signed these guys to their Apple record label.
Yep.
They were that good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. The Rolling Stones would be a good one. They've got enough stories that would choke a horse. That could be a 3-part movie. It'd be massive. There's so much good, bad, ugly, death, drugs, you name it. But they'd have to do it right. I would want a lot of warts in that one. I want all the mud sharks in that one, man. I want that one to be really good, you know. But there's a lot of moving parts there. Again, you know, doesn't.
Yeah.
How do you fucking play Keith and Mick? How do you play that? Like that's trying to find Elvis. It's hard, you know.
Yeah, with Elvis, you're finding you got to find that one person. You know, when you're trying to fill out a band that has, well, 2 and 3 really big names, you know, that becomes tough.
And then find the angle you take. Find the angle on the band. You know, if you notice, they all have like a lens that they kind of filter the whole story through, and it's like you got to find that angle and then follow it. You know.
What about a Prince movie?
Yeah, no, that would be good because he was such a recluse and nobody knows shit about the guy. But you'd have to come out.
The family will sign off on a second. If they can make a nickel off of it, the family will do it. Okay. Prince never wanted people going through his studio, and they're giving tours at his house and everything. The family's running wild with his estate right now. They're probably begging Scorsese to make a movie or whoever, Baz Luhrmann.
That would be a good one, though. I think that would be cool because he's such a recluse. We don't know shit about the guy. We don't. That would be a surprise if it was done right. That would be an amazing movie, actually.
Can you do a Prince movie before you do a Michael Jackson movie? Do you have to do a Michael Jackson movie first before you do a Prince movie?
Is there?
I mean, you don't have to do shit, but
yeah, I don't know.
They did a Queen movie before Elvis.
But do you? I mean, is there still stink on Michael Jackson with the kid stuff? You know what I mean? Like, is someone going to take that risk? I mean, it'd still be huge. It'd be massive.
What direction are you going with all of that?
Right. How do you just glaze over all that shit? Oh yeah. You know, hey, look at all these kids are at his house. Well, why?
Yeah, like I don't want to sit in the theater and then just go tee, and he shuts the door and there's a little kid in there, and then that's the only scene in the movie. I'm like,
mud guppy scene. That's gross. All right. I thought Aerosmith has got a great story. I don't know if it's a big screen one. Aerosmith would be great. AC/DC has got obviously a huge, you know, the band's growing. Oh, lead singer's dead. New guy comes in. Holy shit. Best album ever. I mean, there's a story there. A lot of, but then it kind of after Back in Black, AC/DC kind of goes and just kind of fades out over time, you know, from a
they don't fade out. They become huge, but is it compelling on the screen?
Right. It's where there's no story after Back in Black.
Correct.
Maybe that's where it ends. That's where it ends. That's the ending right there. Boom. Back in Black. Biggest album and boom. Right out into the sunset. There you go. We just wrote that script. You're welcome.
Okay. Sure.
That worked. I had a wild card. I threw down Willie Nelson. I don't know shit about Willie Nelson. And he's like 200 years old. Like he's born in like what, 1930 something. Think about the ride that dude's taken. And I know it gets caught up in all the weed and the bullshit here in the last 20 years, but he's written a lot of great songs for people. And I don't give a fuck about Willie Nelson and his music. I really don't. But I just think there's got to be some crazy ass story with this dude, the shit he's done and seen over the years.
Like you think that translates on the big screen? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. You know, I mean,
it just seems like there's a lot there that could be culled. Sinatra, man, you know what? I'm putting Sinatra back at number one. Fuck that. Sinatra goes on because there's way too much to. I'm writing the thing in my head right now. The whole thing. I'm like, holy shit. Sinatra would be a massive. That would be huge. That'd be bigger than the Elvis movie, dude. Saying it right now. If it's done right, it's bigger than the Elvis movie.
And I'm going to tell people that just because you have a death in your band, you don't get a movie. So
no.
I don't think Metallica gets a movie. I don't think Pantera gets a movie. I get it. Those were big, shocking things, but Kurt Cobain blowing his face off, it's not the only reason that I think that should be made into a movie. So there's a difference. I don't know. But I know when people give me their list, like, dude, what do you mean? You don't think Metallica? You keep telling me that they're like the biggest rock and roll, biggest metal band ever. Why wouldn't they get a movie? I don't know. They just shouldn't. It's not a movie. It's just not a movie. I get it. The bus, the tragic, losing Cliff. I get all that. It's not a movie. It's not a big screen movie. Give them Netflix treatment.
Yeah.
I want to see everybody. I'm going to go back to what you said. I want everybody to get the Netflix treatment. I want the Red Hot Chili Peppers to get the Netflix treatment. Okay. Yeah. They had all kinds of shit and deaths and everything in that band. So yeah, but I just don't think it's a big screen. No.
You know, going back to Ozzy, when you said the bus crash, you know, you got the Randy Rhoads incident. The Ozzy thing has got so much material. That'd be a bummer movie to watch, man. It'd be
the Randy thing would be a blip in that movie. You know,
but it would be big. It would be big. So much that the ups and downs in a movie about Ozzy would be so great if they did it again. They don't fuck it up. But so far the biopics have all been pretty good. You know, you look at the Queen one, you know, you look at the Elvis one. So I don't know. There's a lot of money involved.
The ones that were in the theaters, I don't think there was one. We're missing something. But I mean, even I remember being impressed with Coal Miner's Daughter. I remember wanting to watch it. You know, I didn't give a shit about Loretta Lynn, but I remember wanting to watch that movie, you know,
right.
They made it. And I think that movie was very successful. I think that movie made a lot of money.
I think there's more that we're not thinking of, but drop in the comments at Playpans Pod on YouTube or on our socials. Your movie you think should be made into a biopic, a band artist. The Prince one is actually intriguing. You know, I mean, I liked Prince. I didn't love Prince, but because we don't really know much about him, I think if there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that they could unearth and like really tell a cool story about, oh, this guy's a fucking badass. That could be huge because nobody knows much about him. That's where the surprises would come in. That could be, you know, Ozzy, you're going to be like, oh yeah, there's the Randy Rhoads thing. Oh yeah, there's this. Oh yeah, they bit the head off a bat. Oh yeah, there's the Dove thing. Oh yeah. You'd just be going, we'd be painting by numbers along. We'd be just following the bouncing ball. You know, we'd be narrating the thing. But with Prince, there's a lot of intrigue there. Yeah, I like that one. Sinatra, dude. Sinatra's going to be huge. Who's got the rights to that shit? Let's call him. Get him on the phone. You know people.
I don't know Sinatra's people.
Sinatra would be fucking big, dude. The mafia, the everything, the Kennedy thing, the whole fucking thing would be the Vegas stuff.
Okay, so let's do this real quick. I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Is it too obvious or is it ridiculous if they don't do it? The Sinatra movie's called My Way, right? Does it have to be called My Way?
No. There's a million.
I think it has to be.
I think from a marketing standpoint, that's the one that everybody plays at funerals. You know, from a marketing standpoint, yes, and he did do it his way. I mean, you can't deny that. So, yeah, I guess you would have to call it that. What do you fucking call the Ozzy pick? Fucked up.
I mean, I think you have to call it Crazy Train.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah.
I think you have to call the movie Crazy Train.
Biggest song. Yeah, you have to. That actually works. Yeah, I like that one.
Is the Fleetwood Mac movie called Go Your Own Way? Sounds like a movie title.
It does sound like a good movie title. Go Your Own Way. Yeah, that would be a good one too. Crazy Train. Yeah. Okay. Look, we need to get that Sinatra and that Ozzy movie made because I want to go see those two. Those are the two I want to go see right now.
What's the Nirvana movie called?
Jesus, smells like Teen Spirit. Never mind. Because really, that sums it up. That album. Think about that name. Never mind. It sums up the Gen X that are very aloof. Like, never mind. Whatever.
Absolutely, the movie's called Nevermind.
It's got to be called Never Mind. It has to be because it just sums up you're looking at not just the Nirvana story. You're looking at the Gen X story. You're looking at the grunge and the fashion. You're looking at a lot of different things there. Yeah, it's got to be called Nevermind. Damn it! We're naming the movies? Jesus Christ!
Do you have to call Dolly Parton's movie
Titties?
A Tale of Two Titties? Does it have to be the name?
Holy shit! Wow!
A Tale of Two Titties. Just think about it. Maybe say it. Rub it over.
A Tale of Two Titties.
Let it rub your lips. Go ahead. Run it over your lips and tongue.
Two titties in a wig.
Dolly Parton's movie would be called I Will Always Love You.
No, I gotta go with a Tale of Two Titties.
Tale of Two Titties?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm going with that one, dude. It's better. There you go. Oh my God, you must be getting tired. Let's call this thing for the night.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Wow,
we covered a lot.
My final thought. Am I crazy? I know that Halloween on October 31st falls on some Catholic calendar, and there's a reason for it, All Hallows Eve, and then there's All Saints Day the next day. I understand why it is where it is. Am I fucking crazy to want to unify trick-or-treating in America and put it on the last Saturday of the month of October?
I'm in. Let's do it. What do I got to sign? Let's go. It makes most sense. I was talking to my kid today about it today. He's like, Halloween's on a Monday. Now my kid doesn't eat candy, so he doesn't give a shit about that. He just likes running around the neighborhood with his boys.
Yes.
On Monday night, it just blows. Because then parents, fuck, we got school tomorrow. I got to go to work tomorrow. Saturday night, you know what? And to throw on to your top of your point, dude, it's Saturday night, okay? You're outside. You're in your neighborhood. How many people hang out in their neighborhood like that with all the neighbors are out, kids running around? That's a great thing for the community if you think about it, too.
Now, if you don't have kids and blah, 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 I get it. I mean, people are going to be coming at this on different levels of like why this is good, why it isn't good. For the most part, is it better to say, okay, trick-or-treating and Halloween will be celebrated? I mean, if you want to dress up for school and stuff on the 31st, man, let's extend it. I love Halloween, man. Let's do a couple of them. But I think the trick-or-treating portion of it,
yeah,
I wish that it would just let's do it on the last Saturday of the month.
I'm on board. Who do we got to talk to?
You got a parent. You got a parent working until 5, rushing home. You got to get kids out. You got to get food in their belly. You got to get them outside by 6:30 now if they're young kids to go trick or treat. You only got kids for a couple of years. I don't know. I mean, I might be overthinking it. I also think that the Super Bowl should be played on Saturday.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
But that's not the argument that I picked. The one that I did pick was this one. And I would fight for that one pretty hard. And I'm not going to be friend off if you don't want to change it, but I'm not going to like you as much as I did before I found out that you don't want it changed to Saturday.
I'm all for it. I think it works. I mean, if you've got kids, it's the perfect setup. If you don't have kids, you don't give a shit. You're going to go out Saturday night and dress up and hoard about as a sexy kitten anyway. You're going to go out to the bars on Saturday night and do your thing no matter what. But trick-or-treating for those kids, I got no problem with that.
I get the 4th of July. Before you come at me with, well, why don't we just, do fireworks on that Saturday night? The 4th of July, it's definitely locked into that date. Okay. All Hallows Eve, we have completely bastardized what the actual October 31st stood for and stands for and everything else. So let's just continue to bastardize it. And let's just even make it a little bit more convenient. This just in. Jesus wasn't born December 25th. I'm dropping the mic. What do you got? He was not born December 25th. It's out of convenience. Christmas is out of convenience.
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of that shit.
Where it lies. Go ahead.
Well, it's weird how this is working out. We must have a weird kinetic connection, Rod, because I was just thinking, my final thought was, with football season going, and you know what? We talked about it last episode, how I was like, who gives a shit? I'm not that excited about it. Watch that Bills game on Thursday night. Guess daddy's watching some football now, man. I'm all in it. I'm like, holy fuck, this is so good right now. The Saints game.
The Saints game was great.
Saints game was great. I mean, shit got wild. Now I'm on board. And my thought is that we should have the Super Bowl on Saturday nights, because fucking Mondays, nobody's happy on Monday. Even if your team's not in it, people are just walking around moping, shitty feeling. Like, come on, let's not.
The host city will lose a ton of money. You have to put up a ton of money to host the Super Bowl,
right?
And they're going to look at revenue, and I don't know if that's ever going to change. Just because the money that you make out of all the parties on Saturday, and then you keep everybody in your city on Sunday, and then everybody leaves on Monday, you're stripping a whole day, and it's so expensive to host, and the amount of money is just gargantuan. What you make is being the city. So I don't know that one will change, but man, I really feel like I'm ready to fucking fight for this Halloween thing while my kid's young.
A good move. Well, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, look at your situation, fucking Monday night. Oh, well, let's get that candy wrapped up, man. Daddy's got to go to bed in 4 minutes.
But I would be willing to keep the shop open a little later on Saturday and give the bigger kids candy longer.
Absolutely.
Then I close up shop here, man. 8:45. Fuck off, man. I'm done. Okay. Everything lights out at 9. Don't even look at my house at 9 o'clock. Okay. Don't even look at my house at 9 o'clock if it's during the week.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I'll stay open at 9. Come over for some candy on Saturday night, 9 o'clock.
Oh, I mean, usually our neighborhood's pretty cool too, man. We got people all hanging out. I'm talking to the neighbors, and you're talking to people up and down the street that you don't normally talk to. I mean,
yes.
I think from a community standpoint, it's an awesome thing, because who hangs out in their streets that much anymore in the neighborhood? I know in my street, hey, what's up? That's it. That's all you get out of a lot of it. So I think it's a great community thing besides for the kids. So that's enough, Rod. I'm done for tonight. I'm out. I'm punching out. That's enough. Follow us on social media at PlayPantsPod, thebuzz.com on the world famous Rod Ryan Show page for your boobs rock information for the car show and the big golf tournament coming up. And if you come to New Orleans, come hang with the Pirates, piratesofthequarter.com.
Those guys?
I got all the plugs in, didn't I?
You got all the plugs in.
We put it right at the very end when no one's listening. It's real smart. We should put that shit in the beginning. We are so not good at this job.
What are you going to do?
All right.
Dude, thank you guys for listening, man. Thank you guys. Give us your top 5s, man. Let's go.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at PlayPantsPod.